At 4, Tom Ravenscroft.
BBC Radio 6 Music.
Right now, it's Radcliffe and Maconie.
Too much fudge at the steam rally.
You know what you want to do with that, right? You want to put a banging donk on it.
Spread the words of Ramses and fry up a pan of these. Salute dawn when day breaks and give me my checks with the same first name as my cape. I repeat, salute dawn when day breaks and give me my checks with the same first name as a cape's royalty.
We are an army of stars unleashed. The sky takes notes when we speak. Our capes move with the wind, 'cause of the wings beneath. This is royalty. The sky takes notes when we speak. Our capes move with the wind, 'cause of the wings beneath. This is royalty. The sky takes notes when we speak. Our capes move with the wind, 'cause of the wings beneath. This is royalty.
I've just started to have a sort of, unfortunately timed sneezing attack, so I apologise for that.
And you've got grease on your trousers, so it's not a good start.
What am I going to do, as GB41 sang. Yeah, that's not a good start. I don't know I've got grease on my trousers, but that's always depressing, isn't it? But anyway, let's try and put these minor setbacks behind us. Royalty Capes, De La Soul, Amateur by Sparks before that.
It's rather a kind of tempting fate, isn't it, starting a radio show with Amateur Hour? Were we not secure in the knowledge of our seamless professionalism?
And that it's 3 hours, so it won't be strictly accurate, whatever happens.
But the first hour could be amateurish,
True.
and then it gets highly pro after that.
True.
But we shall see. That's the joy of it. There are certain fixed points within the journey we're going to take together through till 4 o'clock.
Nice.
But at other times, we don't know which little... Rather like that slow bus journey on BBC4 the other day through the Dales.
Yeah.
We don't quite know which little byway... I mean, the bus driver... This is a bad
knew.
analogy because
Yeah.
he did know. But we didn't know, is all I'm saying.
I started to watch that, and it looked nice. I did think there was a little too much of the passengers and the bus driver at the beginning, which is not strictly, I think, what people were tuning in for.
No, I didn't see the beginning. I just saw a bit of it, and it went through a village, and it looked quite nice. I've got the measure of that.
It was quite nice, but there was an awful lot at the beginning of watching. I looked at the queue, and I was thinking to myself, are we going to see every one of these people get on? And we did.
Right, yeah.
But
I tried slow radio one day while you were away. I mean, instead of links, I was talking like this, with this kind of, engrossing badinage.
Yeah.
I played John Fox, Cathedral Oceans, little ambient things, and said, look at bumblebees, and look at the leaves on the trees. And people liked it. But
well, you do get that kind of thing. You do get exposed.
Moved by the Kinks. It was the B-side to All Day and All the Night, 1964. Trish says you can sing John Anderson to the tune of YMCA. John Anderson. Doesn't
sound like YMCA, to be pedantic. It doesn't sound like YMCA, though, does it?
Anyway. Thank you, Trish, but there could be a better fit than that.
Yeah,
John Anderson is with us after 2:30. We are OK for the chain.
BBC Radio
Music News.
6 Music.
Hello to Claire Pomocrane, who's here with Music News. Some news on the Floyd.
Yes, indeed. The Pink Floyd exhibition, Their Mortal Remains, marks a 50th...
Everywhere we go, we light it up like the sideshow.
DJ Shadow, the sideshow from the Mountain Will Fall album, and then from 1985, Since Yesterday, Strawberry Switchblade.
Play that for Soapy on the M6, going from Glasgow to Banbury. Just packed the camper away, so festival season is over. And also, hi to Nick, said it's my mum's birthday today, Rita. We're enjoying listening to you as a lie by the pool here in Tenerife. So there you go. Fair enough.
Lovely.
John Anderson. That's from Hippolyta Loudbasket.
Great. Children of Valdunican, Gravedigger Bob's dad used to sing to Children of the Revolution. Quite fit, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. I like this one. It's just Jonathan Ormond in Ludlow. It's just unlikely, it's a surprise. Catch a turian and put it in your pocket. Never let it fade away.
Chris, and enjoy your new studio. Be settling. What have you got for us on the chain, Andrea?
Well, I'm okay with that. I know I ask a lot. Big, I gotta be on top. Big on top of the food chain. Big on top of the food chain. Big cat on top. Better show me what you've got. Big on top of the food chain. Big on top of the food chain. You can look, but don't touch. Better show me what you've got. Big cat on top.
That's Big Cat by Wild Beasts. The Progressive Music Awards, the Prog Awards, we affectionately know them, have become a regular and a splendid fixture of the music calendar. They take place this Thursday in London at the Underglobe. And probably the most esteemed of all the awards is the Prog God Award, which this year is going, quite rightly, to John Anderson. And John joins us now. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey, you guys, how's it going?
It's all right. How's it? So this is your last day as a mere mortal, John?
Yes, tomorrow I'll be flying around.
So how do you feel about that? I guess recognition is always welcome, isn't it?
Yeah, every now and again it kind of makes you feel it's all worthwhile.
Yeah.
And Prog God, I mean, when Rick got it about 4 years ago, I said, what about me, Rick?
I expect that's not the only time we'll mention Mr. Waitman in the course of our conversation. But
Rick is sort of one of the lasting and happy relationships from your Yes time, isn't it?
Yeah, I always found him to be very funny and silly and just like me, really. I'm a bit there out there most of my life. I love comedy. I'm in BBC area at the moment. All I can think about is Spike Milligan.
Right.
The Goons.
Right,
Gosh, those days.
If you take a walk where you are, John, if you take a walk down the corridors of Broadcasting House, there's loads of great old, pictures of the Goons and stuff like that. If you get a minute, you should wander down those corridors.
I love all that.
As you like comedy, we're doing a thing today on the show about people's names who seem to be sung to different tunes, you see, and people are suggesting ones for John Anderson. So before we start, we need to get you to choose which one we should sing from now on. The suggestions are Rainbows, Since You've Been Gone, John Anderson, or Oh Christmas Tree, John Anderson.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
You like that one? Or YMCA.
No, Christmas Tree.
Christmas Tree. All right, we'll stick with that then.
Have you been to the Prog Awards before, John?
No.
It's a good do, as we say.
I hope so. I'll be there tomorrow. It's Thursday tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just arrived last night from LA. I live in Central California. I've been doing that for about 25 years now.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to be here in London, I must say.
Do you regard yourself as a Californian these days, John?
Well, I'm American, stroke, obviously very, very Celtic. My father was from Glasgow, my mother was Irish, so I always feel I'm Celtic. And I love England, and obviously we're going to be touring here in March, so with ARW.
Well, tell us about ARW then, and we'll play a Yes track that you wanted to hear, and then we'll talk lots more about the Invention of Knowledge album as well.
Okay. Well, ARW is me, Rick, and Trevor Rabin. And I've been watching Trevor over the last 15 years, going down to LA, watching work on movies. He does these incredible movie scores. And me and Rick have kept this friendship up, and we've been on tour together a couple of times over the last 4 years. The Living Tree, that was the album we did together.
Yeah.
And we go on stage, and Rick was like, we'd have the show together pretty well, and we'd get to the song, and he'd always do an intro and always put a bum note in there to freak me out. He was always doing stuff like that. It was always a joy to work with. So getting together was, we actually got together just last week in LA. We did some rehearsing for 10 days, just going through the show. We have a great bass player, which is Lee Pomeroy, which you probably know about.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. And a drummer from LA called Lou Molino, who's, again, very happy people. It's nice to be in a band that are just happy.
I think I was reading an interview, probably an old interview, I think, for Rolling Stone, that said, in Yes, you and Rick were very much, there was two buses. Yours was the happy bus.
Oh, true. And the grumpy. The grumpy bus was the other guys.
Right. I mean, grumpy or not, I suppose the passing of Chris Squire, your fellow founder member.
True.
I mean, you must have felt that pretty hard.
Well, yeah, I was in touch with him before he passed away.
That's
and
good. That's good.
We emailed each other because he couldn't really talk too well that period of time. And I just thanked him for my life, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, but for him, it's all his fault.
Yeah.
And we just had a good laugh about things. And I had this beautiful experience. I was actually on holiday in Maui with my wife, and we were staying in this little cottage by the ocean. And I haven't mentioned this before, but I was actually in deep sleep, and I was having a beautiful dream. And I was watching this colourful event happen in my dreams. And then all of a sudden I saw this lady to my left, and the dream went away. And I was looking at this lady, and she said, "It's time." And then I looked up and I saw Chris. It's like standing on a cloud. It was tears rolling down his face. And,
wow.
And it was just the most amazing event. And then I just woke up, and I nudged my wife, Jane. I said, "I've just had this dream about Chris." And she said, "Well, if everything is like that, the afterlife and so on, he gave permission for you to be there at his passing." And I went, "Oh my gosh." And it was just the most extraordinary moment in my life.
And was that at the moment that you heard he passed then?
I found out the first thing in the morning.
Wow.
It was on the news. And,
wow.
And his wife told me about 6 months later, I was on tour with Jean-Luc Ponty, who were doing some shows,
yes.
and we played in Phoenix. And she came to the show because we did this lovely presentation of And You and I for Chris.
Mm.
And she said, he wanted to go to Maui before he died. And I said, well, that's strange. He actually went there.
Right.
Typical Chris,
How amazing. What music are you going to play with ARW? I mean, we're going to play a track that you suggested we hear for his 9 Voices from the 1999 album The Ladder,
True.
which Yes fact fans will know is the only Yes album with 6 members on it.
Well, I didn't know that. No, it's...
But what are you going to play with ARW?
All Yes music, because that's who we are.
Yeah.
It's like I've got this T-shirt I just made. It's ARW, aka Yes.
Yeah. Well, you suggested some fantastic tracks, Perpetual Change from this album, and You and I.
Yeah.
But obviously, we've picked something that's slightly shorter to fit it in. But this is from 1999, as Mark says, the album The Ladder, and this is 9 Voices, Long Walker. Nine Voices from Yes. John Anderson is with us and playing the music of Yes with Trevor Rabin and Rick Wakeman next year as ARW. Tour starts March 12th, 2017 at Cardiff Arena.
Manchester Apollo it's going to be.
Finishes there, 25th of March at the Apollo. John, I'm guessing your enthusiasm and love of getting out and playing live is undimmed, the same as ever.
No, I just loved getting on stage and performing, and we just rehearsed in Los Angeles together. Going through the songs was quite amazing, and the way Rick can expand on a piece of music and develop it is just extraordinary to watch.
I mean, it's interesting we play Nine Voices. Let's talk about voice, because famously and publicly you had to withdraw from Yes because basically you couldn't sing anymore. Again, I think in that same interview you were saying basically you were coughing all day except when you were on stage.
I know, it's kind of bizarre. The whole tour I had this problem that doctors couldn't figure out before I went on tour, and the adrenaline kicks in when you walk up on stage, and all of a sudden you forget about the coughing, get on with singing, and drink a lot of water and everything. And of course, when I got back home after the tour, I went to a specialist down in Los Angeles, and they said, you're just going to have to take this medicine and take these special breathing apparatus around with you. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm not that old.
Right.
And so for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden, I just knew I couldn't tour with a band and put them under the jeopardy of me not being able to do a show if I'm, it's not going to work. You know? And of course, they got a bit upset, and I said, look, it's unfair for me to say I'm going to tour when I know I might not be able to finish the tour.
Yeah,
I might go and get dead or something like that. And so that didn't go down very well.
Right.
And obviously time moves along, and I started doing solo shows to try and strengthen my voice on tour, just me and a guitar. And in fact, I spent a lot of time just talking about my life. It was these storytelling tours. And I just enjoyed that very much. And by the time the band wanted to go on tour again, I felt really strong. And then all of a sudden, I had a shock, and I actually died. Well, not died, but I stopped breathing for a couple of hours, and they put me into a coma. This is like 2008.
Wow.
Yeah. Amazing. In 2008, I had three very strange events. I nearly drowned on New Year's Eve 2007. And it's so funny. I was living again up in Kauai, having a holiday, and I went swimming. I got caught in one of those breakers you get.
Yeah,
and, and all of a sudden, I was out the other side of the big rolling waves and everything, and I thought I was going to drown.
Wow.
And I heard this voice say, lie on your back. So I was lying on my back in the ocean, hoping a helicopter might come over and find me. And all of a sudden, I got thrown back onto the coral. I was still about 200 yards away from the sand, and there was a guy walking along the sand, so I'm waving like crazy, help, 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 and I couldn't breathe. I got into an asthma attack, and I'm waving, and he waved back and carried on walking.
Thinking there's John Anderson of Yes waving to me.
Wait a minute, I'm dying here. But
I mean, the voice sounds incredibly recovered now. We're going to play a long piece from this album by Anderson Stolt, and you can tell us about the Stolt part of the partnership in a moment, Invention of Knowledge. But I mean, it is an extraordinary, talk about nine voices.
Well,
there's like 109 voices on this.
And an instantly recognisable voice.
But your voice, instantly recognisable, as Stuart says, but it sounds very strong.
Well, I just felt that it was that time where I was asked to do this album with a guy I met on a boat trip. It was like one of these prog rock cruises out of Miami.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience meeting him and the band that he was playing with and all the bands. There was one band from Manchester. It was really great. Can't remember the name now. And I was doing my solo show, and then later on, a month later, the record company guy said, why don't you get together with Ronya and make an album? And see, I was singing every day. I learned this idea that if I wake up and I go in the studio and start singing, it'll strengthen my voice. And I've been doing that now for, 7 or 8 years. So I've created so many pieces of music utilizing the internet. I remember just before the Yes thing happened, where they sort of carried on without me, if you like, I got in touch with Steve and Chris and said, why don't we send MP3s to each other and write some music? And I never heard back from them for some reason. And so I just put a little sentence on my website, musicians wanted. Send me a minute of your music. And I got hundreds of 1-minute pieces of music, and I picked out a couple of dozen people that were really good, and I've been in touch with them ever since, writing music. So I had all these songs, and that's where this album comes from, some of these songs.
Listen, we could talk and talk and talk, but the track is 10 minutes long, and we want people to hear the whole
we
thing.
can always fade out.
Yeah. Well, John, no. We'll see. So Anderson Stolt, which came out in June, is John and Ronnie Stolt, who, as amongst other things, member of the Flower Kings from Sweden.
The pictures on the album, there's pictures of everybody on the album, but as far as I can been through the brochure a couple of times, the booklet, the only picture of you is aged 5.
I know.
So is that a loose concept of kind of being a child and the accumulation of knowledge as life goes on?
Exactly. Well done.
Good. Oh, well,
perfect. Well, that's clear. Well,
I said to Ronnie, I said, why don't you find a picture of when you were 5 or 6? He said, oh, okay. And he couldn't find one, he said.
Right. I think he wanted a rock star photo on the book, John.
So we'll play Invention from Invention and Knowledge. This is there's 4 long tracks on. Invention is the opening of the 4 tracks.
Yeah, it's really what I would think Yes music would be sounding like if I was in Yes Now.
Well, yeah.
That's my idea, anyway.
Okay. Well, we'll play that. Enjoy your evening tomorrow, John, at the Prog Awards.
Hey, wait a minute. Accrington Stanley beat Burnley last week.
Oh,
did they?
Is that the local derby?
That's the local derby.
It was a league cup.
Yeah, that's the fierce local derby, isn't it? Yeah, from your own hometown. Yeah.
Gosh, I used to be I used to run on before the team with the team. I was a mascot.
Were you? Right.
Was it called Peel Park?
Peel Park.
Peel Park, the old ground. Yeah.
I loved it.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
John, it's so lovely to talk to you. And do drop in and see us if you're passing on.
Yes,
if you're going through Salford on your way back to Accrington anytime, do come and see us.
We will. I will.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks,
see you, John.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
This all is moonlight. Take this method of a single cell. Deduce this all is moonlight. I would always bless the sunlight for giving this love of light. Invention, the spirit questions that you always want to know. Speaking of the world of understanding truly is, you never go as far as knowing all that is, all that is. They shall begin the lesson of forcing out the fear of fear, living all above together, singing of the passion calling. Sound mesmerizing, sound magnifying, sound mystifying, all because, everyone knows why. Chase the things that happen to us. Everyone has a story of greater revelation, speech and realization that silence is cold. Know that each moment has greater understanding. The sound of every voice you hear will carry you home. A new world, a new science, a new time. We stand on evolution of inventioning. Evolution of a new world, a new science. This future we stand on. Evolution of inventioning. So many ways I look around and see the magic of eternity that surrounds us and changes our perception. We realize in all these moments true, like the pages opening for us to see the real truth dancing around us, dancing as we try to see it clear to all that is real. And everything that happens to us happens to us, happens to us. So miraculous, so mystical. Give it up, daylight. Give it up to see. Give it up to sing. Give it up to see. Give it up to sing. Give it up to run. Give it up to sing. Give it up to run. Give it up to see. Give it up to run. Give it up to see.
They are, John. We didn't fade out a second of it.
Invention is from the Anderson Stolt album, John Anderson and Roy Stolt. If you're going along to the Prog Awards tomorrow, we'll have a small Tony Port with John Anderson.
Invention of Knowledge, the name of the album. Paul Barker says, John Anderson, total legend. And Kerry Farnsworth says, amazing. Please come back soon, John, to chat some more. I am so going to see him and Rick and Trevor Rabin in March at the Manchester Apollo. So going to that.
Stephen Garside said, great to hear the wonderful John Anderson talking about the equally wonderful Accrington Stanley official on BBC6 Music.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks a lot, John. Enjoy tomorrow.
Okay, my name is Iggy Pop. This is the confidential show. Hey, boy, that's tight and just a cool groove. I'm gonna play music, allows everybody to have a psychic peek. Plug your ears.
Well, I say.
The show is confidential. You've been participating in an experiment in intercontinental relations.